Hey, I just wanted to do a quick video on the signs of dog labor. Well, I'm not sure how other dogs are, but I do know Shih Tzus. And usually a Shih Tzu's pregnancy is anywhere between 53 to 57 days of pregnancy is usually around the time they give birth. They usually tell you that pregnancy can last up to 9 weeks, but for Shih Tzus, it's pretty much 53 to 57 days, and then they usually about give birth. So this is my dog Greta. On Thursday, May 22nd, she gave birth to her litter. She has 7 puppies right there. She had 5 boys and 2 girls. Now, this is not her first litter, and I know a lot of people may not agree with breeding your dog, but I don't think that there's anything wrong with it as long as you do it the right way and as long as you're knowledgeable, as long as you're prepared, and as long as you do everything the way you're supposed to do. For example, in the county where I live, you're supposed to have, they call it a hobby breeder's license, and it costs me about $150 a year, and I'm supposed to also inform them when the puppies are born and how many she's had. I'm supposed to provide receipts, everything. For when I do my taxes, I have to pay a portion of that to the government. So if it's done the right way, I don't see anything wrong with it. And as long as you're knowledgeable and you have a veterinarian on call that you can go to if you have a problem, then I think it's okay. I know people think there's a lot of dogs out there, but realistically, my opinion is if I want a purebred dog, I want to be able to have that option. I don't want to have to go to a shelter and adopt a mixed dog. I don't want to have to adopt a purebred dog that's older and has different habits that I'm not accustomed to. So it really is a preference for everyone, and no one should judge anyone on that. So anyhow, my Greta is 4.5 years old, and this is her last litter. If you have experience breeding and and you can remember and you can observe how her other pregnancies were, things change. This is her 4th litter. Things change in the pregnancies, in the labor process. Her first 2 litters, perfect. She would go to the first stage of labor around midnight, and then by 4 a.m. she would have every single puppy. This is her 4th litter, and on my observation, it was completely different from the other 3. This time around, she started labor Tuesday night. She was like, it was almost as if she was stuck in that first stage of labor for over 24 hours. And then Thursday morning around 5:30 in the morning, her water broke, and then by 7 a.m. she was giving birth. All of those are signs to me that she should no longer have any more puppies because the labor was so difficult. It wasn't that it was difficult. She was able to give birth to them without an issue. She gave birth to them. She pushed out the placentas, everything. Everything seems to be going as planned. It's just a lot longer than her old pregnancies. So to me, as her owner, and I love her, like this is my baby, I love her to no end, that to me is a sign that I shouldn't breed her anymore. So this is her final litter, and she will get spayed. By the time the puppies are about 6 months old, I'll go ahead and have her spayed. Like I said, breeding is something that is your decision and your decision only. No one has the right to tell you to do it or not do it. Only thing I do tell you is that if you're going to do it, educate yourself on it. Read up. There's information on Google. Talk to your vet. The vet can give you just as much information as anyone else can. Make sure that by the time she's about 7 weeks pregnant that you're going to go get her x-rays done. You need to know how many puppies you're having. That will inform you if she's having an emergency. There's nothing worse than not knowing, and let's say she gives birth to 5 of those 7 puppies and then nothing else happens and you're like, oh, okay, I guess she's done. You don't even know. And she's got 2 retained puppies, and what's going to happen? You're going to go days without knowing, and she's going to get sicker and sicker. She could have needed a cesarean sooner than later. That just tells you how important those x-rays are, and everyone who's breeding should have those done. 5 weeks pregnant, an ultrasound can be done. I mean, it's not necessary, but you can have it done to let you know if she indeed is pregnant. But by 7 weeks, you'll know. She'll be heavily big. and you will have to get her those x-rays to determine how large of a litter she's having. And the x-rays can tell you what position they're in also. I mean, you can see where the heads are, and it will tell you if some of them are breech, if they are in the appropriate position. It just lets you know, and it prepares you for anything that's going to happen that you need to be prepared for. So with my Greta, she's given birth to these 7 beautiful babies. She started Tuesday night. She started with heavy panting and digging, and that to me is a sign of impending labor coming, delivery of puppies coming. So I was very on top of that with her. I was constantly watching her. At that point, I started testing her temperature. I started checking her temperature. For a pregnant dog, normal temperature is from 100 to 102 degrees Fahrenheit. Once that drops past 100, that means that labor's coming. Once it gets to 98, 97, those babies are coming real soon. So it's important that once she starts panting and digging, that you're checking at least 4 times a day, checking her temperature to see where she's at. And if you have a notebook, jot it down. What time you tested it, what the degrees were. You need to know these things. So I was a little concerned with Greta because by the time it was Wednesday, she was past 100 degrees. She was at 98 degrees. And I took her to see the vet, and the vet told me that it could be any moment, anywhere from now until 24 hours. I waited. It was so different from her other litters. I was really concerned. But come Thursday morning, 5:30, she had been pestering me, scratching on my bed, whining. She just wanted to get up on my bed, and I was so sleepy. I was like, go away, go to your bed. Just go to sleep, you know. I just thought it was her wanting to be on the bed with me, and I wouldn't let her. And then out of nowhere, this loud yelp, and I jumped up because I knew something was up. I jumped up, and I put my foot down, and I turned my head to the side, and I see a huge puddle on the floor, and she's trying to get under my bed. So I was like, oh, okay, it's happening. She's getting ready to give birth. So I had to coax her and pull her out gently from under the bed, and I picked her up and gently put her in her whelping box, which is one of those kiddie pools that you can buy at Walmart for $10, and I have towels in there for her. That is her whelping box. Anyhow, I waited and waited and waited with her, and by 7 a.m., she was having hard contractions, and the first puppy was born. Her first puppy, if I can show you, was actually this one right here. This is a girl. This was the firstborn. And then after that, I believe it was this male that came out, this male, and then I had to go to work, so I wasn't able to stay with her for the remainder of the pregnancy, the delivery. I had to really rely on my mother and give my mother all the information on how to cut the umbilical cords, how to tie them off so they don't bleed, how to clean their faces, how to stimulate them, massage them, how to do it all, so that my mom had some information. And my mom went far and beyond. My mom wrote down in the notebook what time each puppy was born, what color they were, boy or girl. She wrote all of that down for me, so I know that. Another thing is, once you've done all that, you put them with the mother, and she'll nurse them right away on her own. Another thing is, I don't recommend you to breed if you don't have places for your puppies to go. I would never breed my dog if I didn't have them sold already. Or not sold, but if I didn't have a line of people who wanted them. That's the only reason why I let her have this last litter. I had so many people asking, and I figured, why not one more, and that'll be the end of it. And with the way she had this litter, definitely this is no more. So I have about, let me see, the lady who loaned me the father is taking one of the girls. I only have 2 girls. My mother, because she helped deliver them, asked me if she could have the second girl. So my mom's taking the second girl. I have 1, 2, 3 people who are taking a boy each, and that leaves me one more puppy left that I need to worry about. Other than that, all of them are spoken for. So here's the thing. I don't just give my puppies to just anyone, and I don't sell them for a crazy amount of money. My puppies go for $350 a piece, and they go with their first set of puppy vaccines, and they go home with their health certificate. Greta does not belong to AKC, United. She doesn't belong to any registry, so she does not have papers. So if you're looking for a dog with lineage background papers and all that, then you probably will have to go to a breeder that will have that for you, but they will charge you close to $800 to $1,000 per puppy. My puppies are purebred Shih Tzu. Only thing is, Greta did not have registration papers. Her father has all his papers, but her mother, I don't own her mother, a friend of mine did. Her mother did not have papers. She just had a health certificate. But Greta's father, Louis, he's AKC. He has all his papers. So because Greta was not able to get any registration papers, I cannot get documents for these puppies. And if it wasn't AKC, I wouldn't do it. I mean, there's ways around it where you can get them approved by CKC and United. These are not reputable organizations. I mean, they will give you papers no matter what. You just have to pay them. But I don't agree with that. I don't believe in that. I don't want to con anyone. So I'm straightforward with people. I say, this is what I ask. This is what I'm providing for you. This is their health certificate signed in by the vet. They've been seen. They've been dewormed. They've had their vaccines. I inform everyone that they will need more vaccines. Puppies require 4 series of vaccines until they're 4 months of age. Usually whenever you buy a puppy from someone, they will provide you with the first series. After that, it is your job to have those other vaccines provided for your own puppy. So I also make sure that anyone who's purchasing a puppy from me has recommendation from their vet saying that they do take their dogs to the vet, that they do vaccines, that they are on top of everything. I don't just give my puppies to anyone. I have to make sure that they're going to be okay. I also try to match the puppy's personality to the owner, and I try to explain this to them. It's nice to be able to pick out your own puppy, but every puppy is different. And if I know you have other dogs and I know your other dog's temperament, I could match you with the right puppy. That way you won't have any problems later on. And most people will let me do that. I also make them sign a waiver for me stating that if for any reason whatsoever they cannot keep the puppy is returned to me. Legally, you have to return it to me. I have it notarized, the waiver, and I have you sign the waiver before you pick up the puppy. We go together to the bank. We have it notarized. And that means that you have to comply, because that's the only way I will give you a puppy is if for any reason you cannot keep that puppy, it is returned to me, and I can find the dog a wonderful home. I work for a veterinarian, so I have contacts with several rescues, and I am able to place these dogs in the right place. But that for me, if you want one of mine, I require you to sign the waiver. If not, if you don't comply, you don't get the puppy. It's just me making sure that they're going to be okay, that there's going to be no problems, that everything will work out perfectly fine. I'm sorry, Greta looks like a mess. I just did piggy-tailed on her, and I brushed out all her knots. Anyhow, so that's my tips for when your dog goes into labor and what you should do with them once they're here. Do not breed if you don't have an outlet, if you don't have the means to do it, don't do it, because it can be expensive if you have an emergency C-section. Don't do it if you're not going to get the x-rays, and don't do it if you don't have people lined up to buy them, because there are too many dogs out there, and if you don't have the knowledge on it, don't do it. It just doesn't, it's not fair to the dog. Okay? If you have any questions for me regarding pregnancy, I'm not here to judge anyone. If you need answers to questions that you may have, you can write me on this video, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Thank you.